Dear viewers, welcome to our new international discussion initiated by the volunteers of the Creative Society Project. On the May 7th, 2022, an unprecedented event, the International Forum Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, took place. It was streamed on thousands of platforms and simultaneously translated into 100 languages. Today, this international discussion will go deeper into the understanding on the information that has been raised in this forum. Our guest will help us to comprehend and spread this information as much as we can, because it's a very valuable information. This is the truth.
Thank you. And today our guest is esteemed Amir Aziz from Germany, who is the Imam of the oldest mosque in Germany. Welcome.
It's very pleased to have you with us today. But before we start the discussion, we wanted to show an extract from this very forum that will give us once again a vision of the situation in which we are all together regarding to climate change. So let's watch this video and then we're going to discuss about it right after.
Здравствуйте.
Hello.
We
have now watched the video of the monitoring of climatic cataclysms for just 2 months. And only the most extensive disasters have been listed. How many lives have already been lost in these 2 months? A huge international team of volunteers from all over the world worked hard to prepare this video. During all 5 months between the last conference and this forum, we have been collecting and analyzing data about climatic disasters all over the world. We did this every day, and we were shocked by what was happening, especially by how many disasters happen every day. We did it because the full picture is not shown anywhere, not on any resources, which means that people don't understand the real scale of the climate threat. Every story in that video was unbearably painful to watch. But my team and I continued to collect these stories on New Year's Eve and just through the nights, when getting up for work in the morning, and some continued to collect data even during the war, while being in shelters during the bombing. We did this because we understood how serious the climate situation on the planet now is. And if we don't study it, if we don't collect this data, if we don't publicize it to the world, then we all simply have no chance to survive. I'm not a climatologist, but even I didn't have to put much effort into seeing that the scale of climate disasters has increased dramatically over the past 5 months. Our team of analysts has prepared statistics on this increase in climate catastrophes, and now I will share a small part of it. Storms. In Europe alone, the average annual number of storms since 2000 to date has increased 16.5 times. The number of powerful, destructive Category 3, 4, and 5 hurricanes has increased by 30%. Moreover, they now go farther inland, bringing gigantic amounts of precipitation with them. In the USA, tornadoes usually rage from April to October in a certain area. Usually, but not now. Over the past 5 months, 2 non-seasonal months, December and March, have broken all records for the number of tornadoes. In the 5 months of monitoring, according to the most conservative estimates, more than 300 floods occurred in 82 countries around the world, and that's just the most extensive ones. Precipitation in Bolivia in December exceeded the historical maximum 7 times. In Spain only, for the last 2 months, precipitation was more than the annual norm. In South Africa, the semi-annual amount of precipitation fell in 2 days. There have never been such contrasts in natural disasters. The heaviest snowfalls are replaced by fires. In the United States alone, the number and area of wildfires are already well above the norm, even before the start of the fire season. There is no fire season as such anymore either. Catastrophic droughts are replaced by equally catastrophic floods. The number and duration of droughts on Earth has increased by almost 30% in 20 years. Sand and dust storms have become more frequent and, most importantly, more intense and longer lasting. Abnormal heat waves are also increasingly covering the planet. In Antarctica, minus 12.2 degrees Celsius was recorded. This temperature exceeds the average by almost 40 degrees Celsius. In the United States, for example, the temperature dropped from plus 15 to minus 14 degrees Celsius in just a day. And that is happening everywhere. Everyone is aware of that, of the extreme heat in India and Pakistan. And after the record-breaking hottest March in the history of observations in India, the temperature rose even higher in April. Human lives are lost after each of these climatic disasters. These lives cannot be brought back. After each of these terrible events, these are either mothers hugging their children, as well as people being buried alive in the lava, as was the case in Indonesia, or whole families left under the rubble of their homes, and those who survived are without water, flood, and everything they had, as it happened in the Philippines, or entire cities wiped out by tornadoes with only the foundations of houses left and the remains of human bodies that barely identifiable. There's really a full-scale war going on. The only enemy we have in this war is the climate. To survive this war, we must unite all of humanity and work night and day on technologies that can defeat this enemy. But first, we need to open our eyes and recognize the scale of the catastrophes and the fact that we can delay no longer. For 40 years, we have been told that the cause of climate change is anthropogenic CO2. We're spending hundreds of billions of dollars to solve this problem. But why isn't it getting better? Why do people keep dying? Why are so many families left just on the streets, without basic things to survive, without water and food? How has our planetary fight against CO2 helped these people? Yes, CO2 is on the rise. We don't deny it. But what does that have to do with the increasing climatic disasters? I'm talking to you, people, to you personally. Are you ready for the climate to destroy your home? Are you ready for your child to be swept away by a flood that comes out of nowhere? Are you sure that it won't affect you? Do you think those people whose stories we watch today are any different from you? Do you think they were ready? Are we ready? Because we will face cataclysms of even greater power than in the last 5 months. The destructive power of cataclysms grows every day, and we as society do not even study this problem at a proper level. Our science is busy with something completely different, and we are wasting precious time. But these are our lives. Be sure that literally very soon, if not a tornado will come to your house, then a flood, an earthquake, or a typhoon. And this natural disaster will spare neither your life nor the life of your loved ones. And in the creative society, this will never happen. Because by combining the scientific potential, we will create technologies with which the climate will no longer be the threat to us. That is why it is now so important that each person actively informs about building the creative society.
This is truly powerful speech, and it shed light to all the absurdity of our current consumer format of society we're living in today. And the questions that Olga asked about, are we ready for this? Are we ready that the climate destroys our house today or tomorrow or any of these days? When we ask these questions to ourselves, this is the starting point of realizing the true issue, the urgency of uniting all global potential today. And the same question I'd like to ask our esteemed guest, Amir Aziz, about this. As a society, are we ready today to face this global climate change? And as for yourself, how many climate disasters are you facing in your daily routine? I mean, locally, globally.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And I feel honored to be part of this very important discussion, which is actually to save our future generation, not only future generation, but our generation as well. While I was listening to this report about that what happened in different parts, and there was one sentence which has which was shocking for me, and that was that climate is our enemy, and that how we can all together we can stand against this enemy. So what I would like to say, it's not actually the climate which is our enemy. It is actually the human actions, or we can say it is actually the lack of human action to protect that climate, because in the Holy Scripture, and especially in the Holy Quran, God says that we created this universe for the human being so that they should discover it, explore it, and keep it as natural as it has been created. So if we as a human being, if we are unable to fulfill our duties, then obviously it means that we are making this climate enemy for ourselves. So much more it is actually our lack of action towards it. Secondly, as it was also mentioned about Pakistan and Indian situation, what happened and the heat wave. And I know that the areas especially which were really affected, and in our desert area in Pakistan, there were many cattle, animals that died, even people, they were drinking water from the pond, not a clean water. So this was really heartbreaking scenes when one see about this situation going on. And if we see that what is the cause of it, so it was once again, I would say that it's a human being who were unable to see this climate which is becoming an enemy to the people, because they did nothing for this. I know when I was born in Pakistan, in that area which was lush green. That I was born in a valley, and that area, it was even in summer. The people used to go to those areas especially to have their vacation, because it was a summer resort. But unfortunately, within just 20, 30 years, the trees are gone, greenery is finished. And it was all because of the human, we can see it's a greed, or human, the administration, who had no idea that what they were doing, because people were cutting trees, people were not protecting the environment and the climate. So definitely it means that we were creating it and making it our enemy. And you see that just a few days back, we saw that the fire in the forest. And it was, I just tell you, like it happened in my country, so I can give experience of myself of how it was so terrible to see that one of the model, only just for TikTok, making a movie for TikTok, she burnt the forest and she put the fire on, and then she made a TikTok only for a few seconds just to become, famous in the world. So without realizing that this fire, how it will affect the animals, how it will affect the fauna in that. So the problem is with the human being. And how now comes up that how we can take care, how can we together and unify with as a unifying force, we can stand against this climate change. First of all, I think the most important thing is awareness. To create awareness amongst the human being, because nature is our friend. And if we will not take care of this friend, if we will not take care of this nature, obviously we will be then on a greater loser end, which we are now at this time. So the first is to create awareness among the people. And that's why as my to be the community leader here, I always put my stress to the people about this nature, to take care of it, plantation. So first is on a very human level, we have to make this awareness. And especially like the underdeveloped countries, because even if the developed countries where people, they have awareness, if they make it a better climate, what will happen? The things there, they will affect again to the other part of the world. So it should be a very global effort. And that's why I would say creative society, that is what the role it is playing is a wonderful role in this way, that they have to bring the globe, the whole world together. As it is said that nowadays the world is a global village. So all the people, all resident of village, they should take care of it. So the important point is awareness among the people, taking care of the climate, taking message to the politicians, especially the people who are responsible, that this is the alarming situation. And if we will not now stand up against this, then maybe it is too late. And then obviously not only we will suffer, our generation will also suffer from this. I thank you for this. I hope that I have clarified my point of view.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Amir Aziz, and thank you for your answer and your detailed answer. And you emphasize it very well many times about the awareness that is very important, which means that at the moment, and if we are here today trying to spread that information, is because awareness, it's not where it should be, which means that without being aware, we cannot act accordingly to make sure that our society, our generation, future generation will be able to go on. So that's very important, that awareness is the very starting point that we need to focus on very much. And the other point that you mentioned is also, of course, action, having the right action that goes hand in hand with awareness. And it's very important that those actions start with every single of us. Nobody is really responsible for all of this, but every single person. Everything will start with each of us, because we are each of us concerned in this situation. And I wanted to really mention that you talked about some developed countries and what is happening there, and they experience those cataclysms differently. But if you look at Western culture, you're in Germany, I'm in the Netherlands, Naren is from the US. It's not because we are living in so-called developed countries that the information is less important or we are safer in our country. I wanted to ask you to develop a little bit more on this part, that everybody is at the same level in terms of the responsibility to know what is going on.
Here in Germany, and when you talk about this part of the world, especially in Germany, when I said, if you see that there were two main incidents that happened this in the very recent past. One was obviously last year. It was a heavy flooding which destroyed many houses, and lot of there was a lot of damage. And then just a few months back was a very heavy storm which hit Germany, and it has also affected almost the whole Germany. Not only affected the whole Germany, but it affected myself personally, because my car window was broken with a storm, and it's because of falling of the trees. And in when you see that they said that it is the wind pressure, which came out of the Sahara desert, and then it caused this. And now even I was just going through some news that maybe this coming day there'll be again another storm that can also hit it. So in this part of the country also, we need a lot to do, and to give awareness. So I think that in here also the people, they have to be aware of this whole situation, and especially about the climate, and because if we see in these countries, there are a lot of other problems going on. And I think it is also duty of the media, especially, to focus on these important issues. And like the program as the Creative Society is doing, I think that if the media gives attention to such conferences and such awareness program, then obviously the message will go to the public more in a positive manner and quickly, so that as we cannot delay it too much. It is not a simple issue. It is a very important issue. So therefore, I think media has to play its own role along with all other part of the society.
Thank you so much for bringing up all these examples, all these, issues also. As you mentioned, the media won't cover the issue to deliver it forward, right? Whatever is something that is not beneficial to the ones who are, governing us today, they won't cover. But today, thanks, God, we all have this independent platform where people are voicing out the truth, so that people learn the truth about the reality, and also the reality of tomorrow, and what to do to, prevent that sad reality of tomorrow, let's say. And truly, one of the main issues today is that we have this huge ecological problem out there, aside from the climate change problem, which is, devastating. And instead of uniting our human potential today, we're not making anything to save us. Instead, we're destroying more and bringing the death of the world closer, which is kind of absurd. And yeah, that's why we all are here today, to talk about this, to bring more awareness about all the issues we're having, and about the real solution today. I would like to present the next video, which will fully cover the sad reality of, ecology today. Let's watch it together, and we'll come back and comment it later.
Your life is in danger. You live on a planet that is dying. The ecology that provides the conditions for your survival is almost destroyed, and continues to be destroyed at a catastrophic rate. But the truth is that this cannot be stopped in the current consumerist format of society. The format of lies, cruelty, and absurdity. We are massively destroying the forest for timber, cutting down centuries-old tropical forest to plant coffee, cocoa, and soybeans because they are well paid for. We have lost as many forests in the last 100 years as we did in the previous 9,000 years. Where the forest disappears, all life dies. But in the consumerist format, we can't give up logging because the forest industry implies millions of jobs. It turns out that in order to survive, we must destroy what gives us life. The consumer society is a society of absurdity. Today, there is not even a single well-functioning system for environmental monitoring in the world. Its absence allows almost uncontrolled dumping of toxic waste into the environment. The amount of fines for environmental violations is far less than the cost of environmentally friendly technology. The money from the fines goes into the state budget. At best, they're allocated to eliminate the consequences, but the cause still remains. And why eliminate it? We can continue to fine and sell emission quotas and licenses. As long as one can make money on this, the problem will never be solved. The consumer society is a society of lies. Now, 1 in 3 people does not have access to clean drinking water. To solve the water shortage problem in the 140 countries where it is particularly needed, $114 billion a year is required. Is it a lot? Just to compare, the global annual military budget for 2020 was $1,930 billion. That is, if we give up spending on the war for just 1 year, we can provide clean drinking water for all of these countries for almost 2 decades to come. In a consumer society, fostering hostility and fear is more important than caring for one's neighbor and future generations. Consumer society is a format of inhumanity. Another serious problem of our time is that there are no accessible and safe technologies for waste disposal. Our planet has become a giant landfill. For example, less than 10% of plastic is recycled. The rest we just throw away. Entire garbage islands have already been formed in the ocean. At the same time, the production of plastics is constantly growing. Another paradox of the consumerist format. We are destroying nature and ourselves for money. The largest pesticide manufacturers in the world derive over 1/3 of their income from the sale of products that are a serious threat to the environment and human health, causing mutations in the body, cancer, and reproductive disorders. Because of the proven harm, most of these harmful substances are banned from use in developed countries. But in order not to lose profits, manufacturers continue to sell them to third world countries, ignoring the fact that we all live on the same planet. And air masses and sea currents do not respect political boundaries. In the consumerist format, financial interests take precedence over human life. To save your life and life on the planet, it is necessary to build the creative society, a safe, fair, sensible society in which the main value is the life of every person.
This video really shows again the absurdity of the situation. Being in such a difficult situation, looking at the climate disasters that are striking more and more all over the earth, we can see that our behavior towards this same earth in terms of ecology is basically the opposite of what we should do. We are living in a planet that is sick and struggling, and we're just dumping and polluting it even more, which is very almost discouraging when you think about it on what humans are capable of doing. Even though this information about environment is not something that nobody knows about, is being talked about. We have a lot of convention about how to reduce climate or pollution and so on and so forth. But it seems that nothing is really happening, or nothing is really done the right way. I wanted to ask you this question, Amir Aziz, regarding this question. Why is that even though people have some information, they cannot connect the dots to realize the big picture, how dramatic the situation is?
Yeah, thank you. This we have just again like this documentary. I have seen it, and as the main issue which was going on is this consumer society. You know, that's the main actually up the problem of the current world. I just give you one example that as it is also mentioned, it is more than 1 trillion budget is of the army or the which is being spent in the in that 1 year. And if we spend only half of it on the environment, I am sure that the whole environment will have much more to give back to us. But in case of this, what the budget is spent on this wars, technology, and all this, it is bringing destruction to the whole humanity, which we see all around in the war, which we have seen in Syria, and now currently very tragic things are going on in Ukraine, and we see that what is going on. The main point is actually, that the world is now much more, it has a materialistic approach. And in that materialistic approach, everybody wants to get a profit. And that profit, everybody wants it through hook or crook, and without even understanding that this, which he thinks, so for example, if somebody as a industrialist, if he is selling his own products and he thinks that he is minting money, he is he's getting profit. But I can assure you that he is, if once he realizes that what he is thinking is a profit, it is actually a loss. So they will have then a better understanding of this. It will affect not only just those who are consuming their product, but it will also affect those who are producing those products. So this also, they have to realize this thing, that what they are producing, it will affect them back. So it is just like that we are, somebody once said that we are creating hell with our own hands. So, and we are digging sometimes graves with our own hands. So this is what they are doing. And once we realize, for example, here in Germany is one very famous small, it's in Berlin, near Berlin is a small mountain which is called Teufelsberg, which means in English it can be so that devil mountain. So this was actually the dump place of all the waste of Berlin in past. So they were dumping it, and then suddenly then they realized that when it was realization came up that this, what will happen if this this whole dump, it has the wastage has become a mountain. So then they started planting it, and now it is a very lush green mountain again, although it is actually was a dumping place for the waste material. This is very important that how we can this wastage and this all the garbage, how to dispose. This is also very, very big issue, especially in these countries. People still think, but in many countries people, they don't realize it, and the world is becoming a dumping place, as it is said in this that's a small video. So this is also very important.
Thank you so much for bringing that point up. And exactly as you already commented, as we already, watched in the video, that today annual army, expenses cover up to $2 trillion a year. At the same time, when we are having this shortage of water, shortage of basic needs for, millions of people in the world. And we have the money to, to spend it on the army, to armed force, but we don't have the money to provide water and other supplies for all these people who need it, kids especially, The first thing today is just to raise awareness and spread the information about creative society, about uniting around creative society where human life is put in the first place.
So as soon as we understand and we comprehend the big picture of the creative society, we can also start to act this way already now. And actually, some people are already doing it, and that's actually the positive things. When you look at technology that is being developed currently, even though not necessarily well spread, this technology, nevertheless exists. When we look at climate disasters, at the moment, they are getting more and more powerful, more damage are created by those cataclysms, and it's hard to think that can we actually do anything about it. Creative society bring an answer. We need to bring all of the scientists' potential to really actually focus 100% of the time. Our time is on attention is the most important thing we have, and that's what we need to do to find a solution. But as we are today, we still need to face, until we find that solution, those cataclysms. We still need to find a way to help people being impacted by those cataclysms. So already some activities needs to be implemented in terms of discovery and scientific discovery into some tools as of today. We have seen in the forum that those technology already exist in terms of helping people after a cataclysm, for instance. Different technology are out there, have been developed for some years already, and being implemented, I guess not enough, but still have been implemented to be able to help people. Either that would be usage of drones to avoid using actually normal pilots, maybe for some area that are too hard to be able to access, using drones to fly over some areas, but using drones also to scroll under rubbers to be able to find some people that have been catched by an earthquake, for instance, or maybe from a volcano under ash. There is a lot of those new technology that are very promising and definitely needs to be invested even more and more, so we can, as of today, for the cataclysm that occur, help the population even better than is being done. And I think that's something it's important to re-emphasize on, because if we don't have the answer to the big picture, at least for the problem that occur to us now, we still have a ways to help people better. Maybe a question on the top of these topics of the positive investment that are being made to develop those technology. Maybe Amir Aziz, do you have anything on this topic that you would like to share with us also?
This is also, once again, it is very important to use the latest technology, especially in this field. It is important, and I think that the scientists and all the experts who are in this field, they must actually concentrate much more on this technology to how to protect this climate. For example, if I see that that how the technology can be used to make the deserted places once again fertile. Because if you know, it's nowadays, like especially I know in Pakistan, if I take the example, because I have been there, and in many other countries, not only just in one, but it is just one example, that the water is being wasted. There's a lot of waste of water. For example, the irrigation system is so old; it is centuries old irrigation system, where there are only canals, and through canals, then the water from one end to the other it goes, and a lot of water is wasted. And then also, because of lack of technology, the polluted water is also then it is added into the rivers, and in this way, it is also creating pollution in the sea. So what is now, like for example, I was just reading other day a very interesting technology of for watering, that is a spring technology, that instead of using a lot of water, so there are there are the drops directly, they are especially, and it is, I think, in Israel they have a good experience or experiment they have done it for this, that only the water which is required, it reached directly to that place, and only through this technology they are saving a lot of water. So this, I think, is the need that these technologies should be used. And then also, like the important is, especially I know that in some of areas where there is no water at all, the water level has gone down to almost in some places it is 600 feet, and and there is no water in that area. So again, the modern technology is required to see that how they can these deserted areas, they can be again made fertile while providing the water. So that also. And then another is that what we see, especially, and I have experienced it in as countries, that the flood, it also not only brings as it brings the destruction for that area, but also at the same time a lot of water then it goes wasted because of not using the technology, and because of not having the proper arrangements to control it. So if that water which comes, then it can be saved and then later on used. And especially rainwater, in case of rainwater especially, we are not only just wasting rather this water. It can again be, especially in the area where should be technology should be used, that we can save this preserve that rainwater, and then it can be used later on for this.
So as a maybe final answer to the final question to our discussion, I wanted to ask you this question on how do you think, how can you draw the picture to this future we can build together to the people that never heard of it? It's sometimes maybe difficult to think that things can be so great. So how can you create that message for people to understand and being very motivated to do it and to put the efforts to create it?
I think that nowadays, everybody has like this small magic in his hand, handy, and they have the Facebook, the YouTube, where people are using all the time. And I think through the latest this media can play the most important role, especially the social media, because nowadays social media is actually has all the power in it. So we see all on the social media that people, even sometimes they are presenting something rubbish and it goes to the whole world. So why not to take this positive message of a creative society to the public? So I think there can be a lot of things. First of all, it is the media, social media, using Facebook, especially the Facebook, as can take the message quickly to the people. Then the YouTube, and then also using the Twitter and a lot of other the modern techniques where we can take this message to the public.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our guest, for your inspiring contribution to speak and to spread this very vital information. You are one person, but you can touch a lot. And that's what really people need to understand, that even as an individual, they can have an impact of many persons. So very thank you for this illustration today into this discussion. So dear viewers, do you still wonder how you can act? I think it's pretty obvious from what we saw today. We need to speak, and it's very simple. Visit our website, creativesociety.com. Find the link to the forum in your language. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it and be part of this international discussion. Come and discuss about this key information that we all need to know and contribute to the spread of this information. Write us to our email at info@creativesociety.com. Like and share the link to this discussion right now. You can start the dialogue in any level, either it's in your family, in your community, anywhere you want, everywhere you can, but that is the way we will make the creative society a reality. Thank you very much, all. Thank you again to our guest, and see you into the next international discussion.
Providing the opportunity for all this. Thank you.